Hello my bookish friends out there in booktube land, and welcome to this episode of Tristan and the Classics, where we're talking about 2 tips to improve your reading speed and, more importantly, your ability to focus on what you're reading. Have you ever had that situation? You're reading along, maybe you're desiring to get through the book a bit faster, so you're trying to read a bit faster, and you find yourself constantly going over the same paragraph because you're missing bits, it's not sinking in, and actually it makes you even slower in your reading. Well, these 2 tips are going to help you with that. They help me immensely. Before I give the tips though, here is something really important. Like all tips, there are ground rules, as it were, before you use them. So, the idea of reading more quickly is not so you can voraciously consume tons and tons of books, like one a day, so that you can say, I've read loads, I'm well read. Being well read isn't necessarily reading quickly. Being well read means to read well. Okay, you need to be able to take it in and appreciate it. Also, I personally am not the fastest reader. I like to sound the words out as I'm reading. I like to hear them, which slows my reading pace down to talking pace. Okay, and that's a relatively slow speed of reading. However, there are ways to continue to hear it and speed up slightly. But more brilliantly for me is that these 2 methods help you not to have to keep going back and reading the same thing, but you go through continuously, holding your attention. So, having said that, I'm now going to share with you the 2 tips. The first one is to do with audiobooks. Now, my tip is not, as you may have heard, get an audiobook and put it on 2 times speed. The problem with doing that is there is a huge amount you do miss because it's rapid speech, it's unrelenting speech, and if anyone talked to you like that in a conversation, you wouldn't be able to keep up, especially when most of us, when listening to audiobooks, are also doing something else. You may get the gist of something at 2 times speed, but you won't fully grasp it unless you've trained your ear over thousands of books being on audio at 2 times speed. However, this tip does involve listening to audiobooks at 2 times speed. The difference is you get a book out. Let's have this one, Eugenie Grandet, which is a fantastic book, by the way, by Balzac. And if you put it on 2 times speed and read along with the audiobook, do you know you will keep up quite easily, really easily. In fact, you expect to go through the book much faster than you actually do. At 2 times speed, while you're reading along, you more than naturally focus in on the words and comprehend them. If you put the book down and try listening to it at that speed, things change remarkably quickly. You start to lose the thread. But we can easily go that fast because our brain do process words quickly. When we're in excitement, we talk really fast, we get all our ideas out there really fast so that everybody can understand us because it's so urgent that you must understand what I have to say. Just see how quickly our words can form in the mind. When you have an audiobook on 2 times speed and read the book along with it, you will be increasing your speed of reading, but more importantly, you'll be holding on to what's actually being said. Try it. If you doubt me, try it. I've practiced with this quite a lot and concentrated on my recall and my ability to focus. Interestingly, that speed helped me not to get distracted. It actually drew my attention in so that I wasn't thinking of other things, and I found I never needed to go back and reread something, unless I was interrupted, of course. Now, the second tip is a brilliant one. Now, with practice, this will naturally make your reading speed somewhat quicker. I don't mean you'll be reading 800 words a minute, but it will increase what you normally do. But more importantly, this helps you to focus on what you're reading, to not have to keep going back up the page to reread. And there's a bit more technique to this than you'd imagine. It's using a pencil or a pointer to help you read. So I'm going to show you how. When you see a book of text like this and you're reading, your eye uses peripheral vision. And so when you look here, you will see words all around. You've probably heard of this. Speed readers use with peripheral vision. We read in blocks of words. If I asked you to get any book out now and just look at one word and not move your eyes from that word, and then I asked you what are the words either side, I'm staring at the word venture, right? Not moving my eyes, I can see trading is to the left and I is to the right. In fact, without moving my eyes, I can see two words to the right. After venture it says I know, and before venture it says first trading. So my eyes can actually, although they're not focusing crystal clear on each letter, venture is in sight, but the shapes of the other words either side, I can actually pick them up. However, when you're reading like that, the words can get blurry and they can sort of fold into one another. It becomes distracting because the eye can see what's above and below as well. How do you fix it? A pencil or a pointer or a pen or whatever, even your own finger. I like using a pencil, but I do use my finger as well. What you do here is, to start with, you simply, if I get close like this, you put your finger underneath the sentence you're reading, but the rule is you don't let your finger touch the page. There is something distracting about that. There's a resistance in it. You simply put it underneath, hover it, and roll your finger across as you follow it. But I said use peripheral vision, so are we supposed to look at each word that's just above the fingertip? No. Here's where the skill comes in, the technique. Because you can read with peripheral vision, excuse me for getting really up close and personal, you don't start with your pointer right on the edge. You put it about here. And from there your eye will focus on the top of the pencil or finger, and you'll see a word and your eye will actually pick up the words either side of it. Then you can start by just moving it across, but stop here. Okay, you don't need to get to the edge. You only need to get to there because your peripheral vision will take over. After this, once you're doing it, you will start to be able to practice with just using your pencil here, and instead of sliding, going like this, down each line. And honestly, after not long of practicing, you'll find that doing this, you can follow through the sentence quite quickly, or at least more quickly than you are used to doing. But the main benefit from this is not necessarily speed. I do not want to encourage you to focus on fast if it makes you begin to lose understanding. The main focus of the pencil is it causes you to concentrate on what you're doing. It makes you focus on the story. It helps you not to go, yes, you'll still have occasions where you go back up, but because sometimes you want to go through a sentence again because you think it's valuable, you like the way it's put together, it may have some deeper meaning. Fine, go back and reread. But overall, this one simple tip will make you focus in on what you're reading and not be distracted by other things. You'll find you will be less likely to go back up the page. And that on its own will increase your actual reading speed, because as a practice, we regularly stop in, mainly within 2 pages of reading, we'll have stopped to go back up a couple of times. Not so much when you use this technique. Now, you could finish there. I'm going to give you a bonus tip now, and this is to train to actually read faster. Something you can do, but I don't necessarily think this is that important. I used to do it, but I don't anymore. What you can do is you can set a timer for 1 minute, and using the pencil method, you start at the top of a book and of a page, and you click go on your 1 minute timer, and you start reading. Move your pencil as fast like this, following it down. Now you won't keep up with everything, okay? Just see how far you can get doing that for 1 minute while your eyes follow. Stop that phone, stop the timer, reset it, go back to where you started, and now you're going to do the same thing again, but ever so slightly slower. Instead of like this, you'll go, do you see? And then once you've stopped that timer, you reset it and you go back and you do it more slowly, making sure you're actually taking in the peripheral. Now, and you'll find over a course of time, if you practice that exercise every single day, that one day you'll pick up the book without doing a sprint, as I call it. And what you'll do is you'll find you actually are moving faster with your pencil than you did before, which means you've picked up, you may have learned to read 20 words a minute faster or 10 words a minute faster. And cumulatively, if you're a big reader, that's going to add up to quite a bit of saved time. However, that's a technique if you really want to improve speed. The 2 tips I gave before will improve your speed if you're a slower reader, but without sacrificing any comprehension and improving your ability to remain focused. And that's the critical thing with reading. How often do you find you're thinking, I want to finish 30 pages of reading today or 50 pages of reading today. I've got to push. But those last, 10 pages, you keep having to reread. In fact, essentially, you've read probably 70 to 100 pages, but several of them you've read 3 times because you didn't actually take it in. I've had that problem. Let me know down below if you ever encounter that problem with reading, or share actually what problems you have with reading, especially when it comes to concentration and rehashing what you've already read. So I hope that these 2 tips have helped you out. Please practice them. First of all, the easiest one, if you've got an audiobook available, and you can get many free ones. They don't even have to be the best reader actually for this, because your mind will take over. Put it on double speed, have the book, follow along. You will find that it helps you focus in on the book. And of course, if you're a slow reader, which normally means reading at speaking pace, it's going to increase you ever so slightly. And hearing it embeds it to a degree. The second one is the more powerful one. Use your finger, place it under a word, I'll do it your way, place it under a word which is a little bit from the edge of the sentence so that your eyes can pick up both sides. The finger is going to make you focus on one line, okay? It actually makes it easier for the eye to focus. Then move your finger across without touching the paper and get to the other side, but not right to the end of the margin, just within the end of the sentence. And then come back and keep doing it, okay? Later, you may just want to go from one point to the next. It's amazing how quickly, between these 2 points, your eyes actually pick up the words, both sides. Do not set yourself some target which can make you think this isn't working. Don't say, right, I want to increase my reading speed to 500 words a minute. I can't do it. Don't do that, because what you're focusing on is the words a minute and not the method of what's keeping you attached to the page and helping you to remain focused on what you're reading. Long practice doing this. Just every day you do your reading. If you do this without thinking about how many words you're learning, you will naturally train your eyes to take in better peripheral vision and you'll begin to pick up more reading speed. There are other tips about reading which can improve your speed. Maybe I'll share them one day, but I really heartily recommend you go and watch my video on advice for slow readers. There's advice in that which is far more important than reading speed. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and until the next time, I wish you joy in whatever you read.